Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, if you want to call or ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And, we'll be here till about 9 tonight, maybe. Maybe. It's a light week, man. Beeb, it's a light week this week, man.
Oh, my God. It was hell.
Oh, my goodness.
It was hell.
You know what? And not this week. This weekend, we got the Wilder fight, of course. But after that, there's another dry spell. There's like another dry weekend.
Not good
it's
for
like
the
it's
Beeb.
terrible. It's horrible.
I'm like laying on my bed twitching. Oh, I need a fight. I need a fight. I need a fight.
I'm tweaking. Beeb.
I have to go into the ESPN Plus archives and start watching those.
Go back to YouTube or something, you know?
Yeah, man.
So today, man, we're going to preview the upcoming Wilder-Ortiz fight on pay-per-view this weekend. And also, too, we'll talk about this. Is PBC coming out with their own belt? This is an interesting one for me. But first, we get started across the pond. Rocky Fielding, your boy, Beeb. You're responsible for him. Versus Abdallah Pazi. How about that? You heard of that guy? Neither have I. After this weekend, you'll never hear from him again. Fielding wins by second round KO over Wapazi. Listen, here's the deal here, man. I don't care how good Fielding looked in this fight against a guy nobody's heard of. I could care less how good he looked, and by all accounts, he looked very good. That performance against Canelo Alvarez will haunt him forever. And he will never be the same fighter. So much so that every time I hear Fielding's name or Fielding is fighting, it doesn't even matter to me. That's pretty much how it goes, man. That performance against Canelo was pathetic.
So this guy could climb Mount Everest tomorrow, and he would still be done.
He gets no dap from me.
He's canceled.
He's done.
Okay.
He's done, Beeb. He's done.
All right.
He's got no dap coming from me. That much I can tell you.
I got you.
Him and the NFL feels about Colin Kaepernick right now. that's how we're living over here, man.
Wow.
Because that performance against Canelo was nothing short of pathetic. And listen, man, I know Canelo's a good fighter, and I know he's strong. He can get you out of there. You know, look, Beeb, we've seen Fielding before. You know, I'm not going to go, listen, I'm not going to go as far as to say,
Well,
but
at least the guy's got a highlight reel now.
You mean other than the Canelo tape that he was getting blasted?
He's got a highlight reel where he's
for him,
he's dishing it out. He's got a highlight reel when he's in charge, dishing it out instead of being on the receiving end. So you put the right guy in front of him. Guy looks great.
Yeah. You put me in front of him, he'll look like a superstar.
Right.
Put him in front of the bag, he looks great. You put him in front of a living body. I mean, I don't know, man. But I could care less about Rocky Fielding now.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you, man. That really bothered me. That performance against Canelo bothered me. And again, man, Canelo's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. But would you agree? Let me ask you this, because you're England's adopted son. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Fielding put forth his best effort in that Canelo fight?
It looked like he was just happy to be there. And in stark contrast, let's make a comparison. Vadim Martirosyan, when he fought Golovkin.
Yes.
We all knew he was way in over his head. Okay? And probably deep down inside, he may have had those thoughts in his mind as well. But did you see how he went out there and he actually landed some good right hands against Golovkin, and he actually really took it to him?
Yeah. He wobbled Golovkin. He wobbled him.
I will never ever question the heart of a fighter. I'll never call anyone a coward. You know the deal. You've been around. You've been with me for a while now. But if you ask me an honest question, did it look like he wanted to be there? Did it look like he was going to lay it all out there on the line? Did he look like he was going to give everything he had that night? I would have to say it did not appear as such. He looked like a deer in the headlights, honestly. And again, I'd look like a deer in the headlights too if I was in there against Canelo.
Yeah.
But, you got paid very well. You were a former world champion. You're supposed to be at a high level. And we already knew that Canelo was levels above Fielding, but he didn't even try to, erase those levels at all.
No.
He was just basically looked like he went in there with a defeatist attitude. And again, we're not in his head; we can't tell. But it just looked like he just did not want to be there. He was just. It was almost like Kovalev to some degree against Canelo. I mean, but not to that extent.
No, I thought you know what? That's what I thought going in. I thought he was just there for a payday. He was happy to be there. He was shaking his hands, taking selfies with him, broing up with him. Listen, man, I thought that you can't take any away from Kovalev in that fight. I thought for sure. I mean, Kovalev, to me, I had him winning that fight at the time of the knockout.
A lot of people did.
I thought he fought a good fight, man. And you know what? I'll never question Kovalev's heart again. No,
I'm not questioning his heart, but you could see in my mind, I thought that he was concerned about what was coming back at him. As well he should, but it almost kind of hampered his offense a little bit, I felt. Because he wasn't really stepping in and shooting those shots. He was throwing them to me with some hesitation. And I've never ever seen him throw punches in that manner before. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. Like I said, if you had that's why I'm not a fielding guy, man. It really is. That's why I don't like him. That's why I don't like him. That's why I don't put any stock in him trying to make. You should have just retired after the Canelo fight, man. You really should have, man. Because who did you look good against this weekend? You know what I mean? Who did he look good against this weekend? I've never heard of this guy. Where'd you find this guy? Home Depot?
Whoa.
Waiting in line to get on the truck to get a job, man. Come on, get out of here.
Whoa.
With that nonsense. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Eric is going in today, baby.
I'm going in on fielding today, man. That really bothered me. That really bothered me that he fought again and that he fought and everybody's praising him. Everybody's, Rocky Fielding looked amazing. Against who? What is this supposed to redeem what he did with Canelo? Listen, I don't care that you lost against Canelo. I don't care that you lost against Canelo. The manner in which you lost against Canelo, that's what bothers everyone.
And even Eddie Hearn was indicating that it looked like Fielding froze up in that fight.
Yeah, well, what's he gonna say? Of course he froze up in that fight. Yeah. It's just a bad look. It's a bad look for him. It's a bad look, and you're promoting this guy. And by the way, this fight, I thought it was on DAZN. And just in case you were wondering, no, I didn't go out of my way to watch Rocky Fielding. I thought the fight was on DAZN. You informed me, no, it wasn't on DAZN.
No, DAZN.
This is how. Look, doesn't Eddie Hearn promote Fielding? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
They couldn't even fill the DAZN slot with this guy.
It was an
they couldn't even fill it out.
It was an MTK Global broadcast.
ESPN didn't even put it on then.
No.
It was awful. Awful. How bad do you got to be? You've seen some of the Golden Boy cards that gets put on.
Yeah.
Thursday on DAZN or whatever. You've seen those cards get put on.
They didn't even put this on Facebook Watch.
Yeah.
No.
It's insane. Not even on Facebook Watch. You didn't even make it that far.
That's horrible, isn't it?
And all of a sudden you win, and all of a sudden you're back in the game. Get out of here. Stop it. Stop it.
That's funny.
Let's talk about Terry Flanagan. And this was, I tell you what, all right, let's talk about, all right, Rocky Fielding was on the card. Terry Flanagan and Martin Murray. Listen, those are three capable boxers. Turbo Terry, Martin Murray, my main man, Martin Murray.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Nobody picked this up. because they were all 3 squash matches. This was like watching late night. Remember WOR when they used to have the WWF on there?
Yeah.
This was what it was like. Terry Flanagan versus J-Ro Duran. How about Terry Flanagan took this guy to a decision? How about that? Let's talk about that for a minute. Terry Flanagan wins a unanimous decision over J-Ro Duran by the scores of 80-71 on all the cards. Now, granted, he won, knocked him down a couple times. How about he took this guy the distance in what was supposed to be a showcase fight? What is that?
Wasn't a good night for
Wasn't a good night for anybody. Wasn't a good weekend for anybody.
wasn't a good weekend for the UK for the UK crowd.
That's called, you know what that's called? Taking an L. That's what it's called.
Wasn't a good day for us. But I'm still wearing it. I'm still wearing it because I'm proud.
That's right.
I'm proud.
That's
I'll
right.
be going back this summer. I'm proud.
You're going back to your flat this summer.
Going back to my flat in Manchester this summer, man.
That's right. See, I've got my UFC Bruce Lee shirt on.
That's all right.
All right. All right. Martin Murray versus Sladen Janjanin. Where are they? Jesus. Are we for real here?
Oh, my God.
Are we for real? I just see H Money in the chat just said PBC is garbage. Seriously? Really? Because they're putting this stuff on? Come on, man. This is awful. Awful. Murray wins by unanimous decision by the scores of 80-72. Who cares? Unreal. That's unreal. I mean, and those are 3 good guys.
Yep.
3 good guys. 3 guys that you could put some competition in with. You know, instead of just giving them, I don't know what these fights were. And I know the big headline was, Martin Murray and Flanagan finish out the year with wins. Against who? What do you think I'm going to go out of my way now? Do you think I want to go out of my way to watch Terry Flanagan fight next? No. Who'd he fight? I don't know. Some dude. Yeah, somebody said it in the chat. They found these guys at the local pub. I mean, look. I mean, listen, and don't get it twisted. Either any one of these guys that fought the superstars that night would just smash me. All right, no question about it. We don't stand
I'm not
a
so
chance.
sure about that.
Well, maybe I can get him to the ground, and maybe it'll be a different story.
We got some good training footage of you, man, taking people down and doing the ground and pound.
That's right. Maybe I can lock him in a hold or something like that. That'd be, But I mean, why would they? I mean, I understand showcase fights, but not a showcase card. And that's the thing. It's a showcase. This was like a showcase card, and this was not good.
And the crazy thing is, these are 3 name guys.
Name guys.
And they couldn't even go be on a good good broadcasting platform. No one, DAZN, ESPN Plus. Nobody picked them up. Nobody picked these fights up.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
These were lower level than Showbox.
Yeah, we're going there next. Wow. Jesus.
It's all right. We got next week. to look forward to.
So, yeah, and Terry Flanagan, I mean, this is a guy that was in the tournament. I mean, this is a name guy.
Yep.
And this is what you do with him. This is who you put him in against.
He's
I don't get it.
He's rebuilding
awful.
after the Prograis loss, I guess.
There's nothing to rebuild. He's a solid fighter. He's still a solid fighter.
He's a good fighter.
But don't I mean, you're fighting 8 rounders?
Yeah, he's a good
Not
fighter.
even 10. What are you doing?
It's a little crazy.
Yeah.
I got you.
I don't get it, man. Martin Murray, again, he's been around forever. One of my favorite guys, fighting 8 rounders. You're going to fight 8 rounders, find another thing to do, man. I mean, there's nothing. What are you fighting 8 rounders for, man? You're a championship level guy. He really is. I mean, Murray is
Murray's solid.
Murray's a solid fighter.
He's solid.
He's a solid fighter. And he could step in. He could step in the same way, like, say, Rosado may step in for Chavez Jr. He's a guy like that you can use. You know what I mean? He's that solid of a guy. that he may not win the big fight, but he's going to give you everything he's got, and he's going to bring it to you that night. You will have a fight on your hands with Murray. And this is who they put him in with. They're putting him in there now with 8 rounders. What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't get that, man. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this lovely Showbox card. This was beautiful. Beeb, Alberto Palmetta versus Eric Vega. Who are we talking about? Eric Vega's supposed to be the up-and-comer. That was the up-and-comer. I've never heard of him. Have you heard of him? I don't know. This is worse. Remember the Tuesday night fight cards? Sans, Vinny Pazienza, and like when they used to have like really good fighters on there? This is even worse. This is even worse. No. Because they used to have Tommy Morrison on. They had good fighters on Tuesday night fights, good showcase fighters. All right? They used to have good showcase fighters on there. This was like Friday night ESPN fights, where it was guys on there that you had no idea who they were, could care less about. Boom. This is what they're putting on TV. This should be on a stream somewhere, man. This was on Showtime. Beeb, this was on Showtime.
Well, Showtime is getting the scraps that Fox leaves over, man.
You ain't lying.
I'll
tell you what, man. If I'm Steven Espinoza, I'm a little worried right now.
I think Showtime's done.
Jesus.
I'm surprised that the Jamal Charlo, Dennis Hogan fights on Showtime. That's a pretty decent scrap.
It's not bad.
That's like the only fight that actually stands out.
Yeah. On Showtime. And then Clarissa Shields is going to fight that Habazin or whatever on Showtime. Yeah. And I mean,
so,
cares about that fight.
Showtime's got slim pickings now because not even Deontay Wilder's going to Fox. They're in trouble. What happened to that loyalty with Deontay Wilder and Showtime? I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there anymore.
How about this? How about like, these were all streamed. I believe these fights were all streamed, I think, maybe except that UK card with the MTK or whatever. So how about this? And Montero had this. I think Montero had tweeted this out or something like that. And he had the numbers a little bit off, but it's about right. For DAZN, what do we pay for DAZN? $120 a month or $120 a year? $120 a year.
I pay $10. Yeah, $120 a year. That's correct.
$10 a month.
$10 a month. Yeah.
$10 a month. $5 for ESPN Plus. You're paying about $400 to watch boxing on PBC now. Think about that. What's the Showtime subscription? $15 a month.
Mine's like
10, 15. Somewhere in there.
Mine's like 10 because of my bundle.
Yeah, 10 or 15
but
bucks.
There's people paying. The average price for Showtime is about $13.
Yeah, so all right, let's say 10.
Okay.
That's $120 right there you're paying. All right,
yeah.
and then this pay-per-view for $80. The Spence pay-per-view $80. What is it, like 3 or 4 pay-per-views a year?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's over $400.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was very hard on DAZN the first half of the year, but they really stepped up their game the second half of the year, starting with that Joshua Ruiz fight.
Yeah, and you know what? But you know what? That's no. I mean, it's not the right thing to say. It's no fault of their own, but it is really. That was something that nobody expected to be a really solid fight.
No, well,
nobody really expected that. Everybody wanted to see the Miller fight, and then he got popped.
Yeah,
and then so nobody really expected. But now it's turned into the biggest thing, the biggest heavyweight fight. I mean, the biggest title fight of the year, really. Coming up, the rematch.
Not to go off topic, but my buddy D-Style that works for Dish, saying that what he said is Dish partnered up with DAZN for one promotion they have. Mm-hmm. If you subscribe to the Latino channels on Dish, you get 3 free months of DAZN.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Dish will pay for it. So, like I was saying before, I think like DAZN should partner up with one of these big broadcasters. They really should. And have their app be pre-installed on one of their receivers. And I think that'll solve a lot of DAZN's popularity problems.
It's inevitable. It's going to happen.
And
because DirecTV and Dish, they don't want to be left out in the cold. So that will happen.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question about it.
I think one of the satellite companies will probably, I don't think Comcast will do it, but I think probably either DirecTV or Dish will do it. Maybe Dish will do it because...
Interesting, yeah, you're right. Maybe Dish will. But interestingly enough, I would see Comcast or like a big cable company like that doing it before I see the satellites doing it.
Really?
Yeah, I do. They just seem to be a little bit more on the ball with stuff like that.
Well,
you know what I mean?
They're already bundled up with Netflix.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that you have Comcast, right? You have the cable or whatever.
I love Comcast.
Yeah, and they've already bundled it up with this, so that makes sense. And that's where, like I said, I mean, you've already got Netflix through it, so that's what,
Also, the D-Lo 40 boxing said there's an ESPN Plus, Hulu Plus, Disney Plus package now. I did not know that.
I heard about something like that. Yeah, they're all. My wife is all excited about the Disney. I guess that Disney Plus thing or whatever it is.
Wow.
I don't know. I hate Disney.
Well, I like Disney because of the Marvel now. Disney owns Marvel, I think, and I think they own Star Wars now too.
Yeah, they own Star Wars. I don't know. I'm not into Disney. I don't know.
I like sci-fi, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. So, how about that? We're talking about like Disney and instead of the fights. That's how exciting these fights were, guys. Palmetta, Alberto Palmetta scores a 10th round TKO over Eric Vega. And on the zone, I think this was on Thursday. Carlos Morales versus Mercito Gesta. Guess who put this fight on? The fight ended in a 6-round technical draw after a cut on Morales' eye in the 6th round caused the fight to be stopped.
Wow.
It's another Golden Boy special. Salt Lake City, Junior Phi versus Devin Vargas. Phi wins a unanimous decision by the scores of 100-88, 99-89, and 97-91. Vargas was down in the 5th and 8th rounds. So, Centurion just said that Disney is signing Rocky Fielding.
That's hilarious. That is too funny.
That's great. That's great.
I love it.
Unreal. All right, so while I got you guys here, all right, because that was all the fights this weekend, and I don't want to talk about them because it makes me sad. While I got you guys here, we took a little heat last week for one of our callers who called in, and Beeb, you can attest to this too. Yeah. The caller called in and made some comments, some anti-Semitic comments, and somebody asked me on Twitter. He says, "Hey, how come you didn't cut that guy off?" And we did cut him off, but he ran it a little bit, and quite honestly, I should have cut him off. That was completely my fault. And what happened was, it was like, first of all, there's a billion things going on behind the scenes that you guys don't see. I've got 2 screens in front of me. I've got a bunch of windows open. I've got a lot. Now, granted, it's no excuse, no question about it. But the deal is, he really caught me off guard. I mean, he's talking, and it wasn't just like he came on and said, "I hate such and such," and it was real like.
It was covert. It was very
covert on how
very covert and sly, and he kind of like eased into it, which is no excuse because once we figured out what he was doing, we should.
It was like too late, and I'm like, so we tried to counter a couple of his points, and finally, I think we ended up, dumping him off in the calls. But we just want to let you know that we're going to do our best to try not to have that happen again. We won't. Again, it's live and things happen, but certainly that's not our stance on anything, and that's not what we do. And anything, no matter what gets talked about, anything racial or anything like that, it's got to go, man. It's
we totally disavow any bigotry or racism or any type of hate speech of any kind, like when it comes to something like that,
because there's a difference between hate speech and there's a difference between. You'll hear a caller call in and they'll say, "Oh, this guy doesn't like these type of fighter. He doesn't like, this or that." That's different. That's different than hate speech. Okay, and that's what was going on with that.
And for the record, Jack Reese, made a bad call in our opinion. And Eric and I both have never been big fans of Jack Reese.
Hate Jack Reese.
And him being Jewish, which we did not know until we. And we didn't even know Teddy Atlas was Jewish either. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
For him to insinuate that the reason why Jack Reese made a bad call in a lot of people's opinions because he was Jewish was totally ridiculous, because Lawrence Cole and Arthur McCanty Jr. are two other refs that I think are probably worse than Jack Reese. And, they're not Jewish. So who I consider a bad ref, I consider a bad ref because of what he does, not what nationality or race he is. It has nothing to do with it. And then when Eric asked me last week, Beeb, what do you have to say? I said, I'm not touching it, because I generally don't like to get into these types of topics.
Right.
But in all honesty and fairness, we both should have disavowed the comments immediately, and we didn't. And we preached that we're not about the racism and the bigotry, but we didn't practice what we preached last week, and we're sorry.
Yeah. And again, it did. It caught us off. I think it caught us both off guard.
Yeah.
Again, man, it was like completely off guard. So
awesome. Yeah.
But again, man, we'll do our best to make sure. Like I said, hey, we're human, so it may happen again, but we'll do our best to try to not make it happen again.
Yeah. We'll put that fire out like quick next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, so we ain't gonna worry about it. All right, let's talk about the upcoming fights this week, and hopefully it's better than last week. I'll tell you that. Signs point to no on my first here. November 22nd. Was that Thursday? Thursday, maybe? I don't know. Or Friday. Doesn't matter. From the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, on ESPN Plus, Jack Catterall versus Tino Schwarzkopf. 10 rounds, junior welterweights. Bhavender Singh versus Charles Adamu. 10 rounds, super middleweights. Who's putting this on, Beeb? Am I hallucinating? Did we not just come out of a weekend like that?
That's horrible. I know. It's sad. What are we going to do?
Oh, my God.
What are we going to do?
A lot of this, though, I tell you what, a lot of this is a blessing and a curse. I'll tell you why. A lot of this is a blessing and a curse because, like 5 years ago, my whole dream was like, we'd see a fight. We'd see a fight in the schedule, and we're like, it's not televised anywhere. I don't understand that. Like Klitschko's fights were never televised in America. Nobody wanted to see them. Now we get to see everything. Now we get to see, like, I would say, man, I tell you what, we would get to see maybe 90% of the fights. If we wanted to see them, we could go, we could watch them somehow.
Yeah, thank God for these apps, and thank God for the internet.
90% of the fights. And Beeb, I complain about it still. I complain about having to watch it. I suck.
We should.
I suck. All right.
You got spoiled, Eric. You got spoiled.
I'm a spoiled brat, Beeb. I'm a spoiled brat.
You're getting so much boxing, and you're not even grateful for it right now.
No, I'm not grateful at all. And I could have zero boxing. Beeb, you put it down, I could have zero boxing. Instead, I've got the world right here in the palm of my hands, and I'm still not happy.
If Klitschko was fighting today, he'd be on the zone.
Yeah, he absolutely would.
All his fights.
Well, you remember, what was it just a little bit ago, before it was even before the zone, Cloud TV? You remember Cloud TV, the German channel?
Cloud TV.
We were watching stuff on there. We thought it was great because we got to watch a fight. I think we were watching the World Series of or the WBSS or whatever.
AWE had fights on too.
Yeah, that's right. And that was before they got onto DirecTV. We had to go watch them online.
Yeah. I had that channel on my Roku.
Yeah. Remember we had to download it?
Yeah.
It's insane. Insane. All right. Yeah, thanks to Bootleg TV. Low Below Champ says. You're right. You're 100% right, man. Saturday in Las Vegas on Fox Pay-Per-View, and we'll come back to this card. We'll come back and talk about it. Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. Rematch, 12 rounds for Wilder's WBC heavyweight title. Undercard, the co-main, Leo Santa Cruz versus Miguel Flores, 12 rounds for the vacant WBA junior lightweight title. Brandon Figueroa versus Julio Ceja, 12 rounds for Figueroa's WBA regular junior featherweight title. And the fight of the night, in my opinion, man, that if I buy the pay-per-view, but I'm not 100% sure, but if I buy the pay-per-view, this is the fight I'm looking forward to the most on this card. Luis Neri versus Emmanuel Rodriguez, 12 rounds bantamweights.
Wow.
I cannot. Man.
Wow.
You're
gonna buy it, bro. Stop.
Man, that's a good fight. That's a good fight.
You're gonna buy that pay-per-view.
Jeez, that's a good fight.
Come on, you bought the bare knuckle boxing pay-per-view with Paulie Malignaggi and Adam Lobov.
That's a good fight. I'm a sick man, Beeb.
How you not gonna buy this?
I'm sick.
I bought Roy Jones
sickness one's deep.
I bought Roy Jones versus Bobby Gunn. That says it all.
You know what? But the worst part though, is that I would have paid for that. They didn't have an option. I didn't have the option to buy it. I would have totally paid for that fight.
We bought it. We bought it on Comcast, baby.
I was surprised. that Roy Jones took care of him like he did, man. I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect it to be that one-sided either.
Oh man, he was so fast. Bobby Gunn's such a good fighter too.
Yeah.
Fought everybody. Fought a who's who. It's like Darnell Boone in Ohio. That's who Bobby Gunn is, man. That guy's good. November 23rd, Saturday, from Liverpool, England, on DAZN. Our boy Callum Smith versus John Ryder for Smith's WBA super middleweight title. That's going to be a good fight. I like watching Callum Smith. I'm real anxious to see what he does in this fight. And he deserves a big fight. He really does. I mean, Callum Smith deserves a big fight at 168. It should be Canelo. It's not going to be Canelo. But listen, man, 168 is becoming a powder keg right now. You know, there's a lot of good fighters down there.
I have a feeling Canelo's going to stay at 168 for a little while. I think he's going to pick up the WBO belt from Billy Joe Saunders. And then I think we can see a unification bout between him and Callum Smith, possibly in September of next year. I think Billy Joe will fight Canelo in May. And we'll see Callum Smith in September. That's what I think that the next two fights for Canelo are going to be.
Man, I tell you what, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Callum does come to U.S. to fight Canelo. I believe so. Yes, JC.
Oh yeah. He ain't going nowhere else. Also, too, on DAZN Saturday, Andrew Cancio versus Rene Alvarado, 12 rounds for Cancio's WBA regular junior lightweight title. And the co-main there is Zhu Khan versus Manny Robles III, 12 rounds for Khan's WBA regular featherweight title. So there you go. On Fight Pass, this is real interesting. UFC Fight Pass from Lincoln, Rhode Island on Saturday. Peter Manfredo Jr. versus Melvin Russell, 10 rounds, light heavyweights. Yeah, right. Hey, Pride of Massachusetts, that's your boy.
That's my man. He's coming back.
That's your boy.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Wow.
I guess that's why Sergio Mora was talking about him.
Oh, that's right. Sergio Mora was talking about him, but I wasn't sure if he was 100% on him coming back. I thought that he was thinking about it.
I didn't know he was scheduled, man. Yeah, right.
I thought he was thinking about it. Wow.
Yeah, no way, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, did not expect to see that. Check this out. Another name. November 23rd, not televised, but from Reading, Pennsylvania. Kermit Cintron. How about he's still fighting? Kermit Cintron versus Josu Obando, 6 rounds, super middleweight. 6 rounds.
Do you remember when he went flying out of the ring against Paul Williams? and everyone was calling him Kermit the Frog. Did he jump out of the ring, or do you think that was incidental? How that happened?
I think it was incidental.
Do you really? Everyone was saying he jumped out of the ring. They were questioning whether or not it was legit or not. That was hilarious. Remember that? That was so funny.
You know what though? Like, he's fighting 6 rounders now.
I know.
6 rounders. How's that even? I mean, what are you doing?
That he's on the downside, bro. How old is he? He's like 40, right?
He's got to be.
He's old.
He's got to be. That's insane, Beeb.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is. It's bananas, bro.
Craziness. Just craziness. All right, let's talk about the Wilder fight here. This is, or would you rather talk about the Jack Catterall, Tino Schwarzkopf fight?
I'd rather talk about the Wilder fight. Thank you very much.
Right? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to talk about the MTK cards, huh? Those MTK cards are terrible. They are just awful.
Yeah, they're not the greatest.
You know what's nuts about them is they got good people over there. They got solid guys over there.
They do.
And this is what you're matching them up. I mean, this is the this is what you're doing over there, man. Come on. All right, let's talk about this on Fox pay-per-view. $80.
$80, bro.
$80.
Right around the holidays.
$80. $80, Beeb. I'm trying to move into a new house. I got $80 of holidays coming up. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, Beeb. And you're asking me to spend $80 on a fight that I already saw. Pretty convincing win by Wilder. I mean, he knocked him out. Pretty convincing, right? 12 rounds for Deontay Wilder's WBC heavyweight title. Beeb, how do you see this fight going?
You know, Deontay Wilder was a little bit under the weather last time. He came in light. He was off his game. Ortiz had that huge 7th round. And if Ortiz was going to win, that was the opportunity right there for him to win. He couldn't get it done. He gassed out. Now Ortiz is a couple years older. Hasn't looked great in his last couple fights. Looks heavier now than he did back then. I can only see Wilder getting the job done quicker this time. I'm gonna say Wilder stops him in about 5 rounds, bro. I think Wilder's just gonna jump right on him, and I think he's gonna take him out. And I just don't see Ortiz being able to hold off that offensive onslaught from Deontay Wilder. You know?
No, Wilder's going to catch him. I think you're right. Wilder's going to catch him, and going to be Wilder within 6. I think Wilder gets a knockout within 6 rounds.
As good as Ortiz fought last time, the one problem he had was he couldn't get away from the right hand. Yeah,
and that's a big problem.
And Wilder was throwing like uppercuts too with the right hand.
Right.
He's knocking him down with uppercuts. That was the best Ortiz that you saw against the not-so-best Deontay Wilder, and Wilder still got the job done by knocking him out in 10 rounds. I'm not saying Ortiz can't box, but did not look good in his last fight. Hasn't looked good in the fight before that. Guy's on blood pressure medicine. I'm not here to dump on the guy, but he's turning the corner, bro. He's turning the corner. I think he's peaked. He probably peaked about maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, he peaked before that Wilder fight.
Yeah, he peaked about 3 years ago. I don't see him doing anything better in this fight. I see him doing a lot worse, unfortunately for him. And I see Wilder doing a lot better.
Yeah. Thank you, D-Star. We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. About Wilder, though, I again, man, I think he catches him, and I think he loses a couple rounds early. But I think ultimately he catches him. There's nothing that I saw from Ortiz that like gives me pause or makes me think about, oh yeah, he's going to get him this time. He's got him this time. Listen, here's the deal. He gassed out right around the 7th round is when he gassed. Yeah. 6th or 7th round is when he gassed. Say you could listen, man. You can dump on Wilder for a lot of things. You really can. You can dump on his competition. You can dump on the fact that he's not the slickest boxer in the world. But let me tell you what you can't dump on him for. Number 1 is his power. And number 2, the fact that he's in shape.
He's got a great jab, too.
And he's in shape every single fight.
He's got a great jab.
And he can go the distance.
Yeah.
He can go the distance. It is what it is, man. He can go the distance. His stamina, let me tell you what. I will never question his stamina. And he's become a true champion in that matter because you can always tell when you're fighting a champ and that guy gives everything he's got and he comes in shape and he can go the full 12 rounds without getting gassed or you're not worrying about him getting tired. Hey, man, you got a solid champ right there. It is what it is.
And he's hungry right now too. He's got that killer instinct.
He wants to unify.
Yeah.
And what is he? He's only one fight's went the distance.
And he turned
his first championship fight.
And he turned down the franchise belt. That just goes to show you right there. He
People's champ.
He doesn't want to be part of that nonsense.
Yeah, he's people's champ.
Right?
Serengeti, thank you so much. We appreciate it. He said Ortiz has a new body. Have you seen the photos? Yeah, and actually, let's talk about that for a minute. So Ortiz looks great. I mean, he doesn't look like Santa Claus or anything like that like he did a few months ago, which, man, kind of gives me pause anyway. Like, how did you get there? Excuse me. But I'll tell you what, man. That's right. Stavern and Reesmack, thank you so much. Stavern and Fury went the distance of the lottery. He's correct. But, we talk about, Ortiz being heavy and everything. If you've seen the pictures now, man, he looks like he's in shape. I mean, he looks like he's coming to fight. The problem with this is I still don't think that I think the fact that he's in an advanced age is going to affect his stamina more than his body type.
Well,
you know what I mean? That to me, it's going to help him, no question. I think it helps him.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. You can lose weight, you can get in shape, but you're never going to get your reflexes back. Once you start losing your reflexes, there's nothing that you can do. This is not a bodybuilding sport. Like you see these guys, like remember Chris Bird went down to light heavyweight.
Yeah.
He was ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good beach body, but he got knocked out because his body was used to being 200 pounds. He was a small heavyweight. So
yeah,
Luis Ortiz is a good boxer, but you could just tell that he's lost a step. Everything's coming out slower now. He's getting hit with shots that he wasn't getting hit with before. The defensive reflexes are starting to slip a little bit. I'm sure he still has the ability to box. You never lose that ability to box. Like he's well schooled without question. But I'm sure he's going to be thinking one thing in his head, and his body's just not going to. He's going to be like, hey, I used to be able to see that coming, and I would make the guy miss by inches.
Right.
That's not happening anymore.
No.
That's not happening anymore. I used to get off first with my jab. Yeah. That's not happening anymore. Later in that fight, Wilder started out jabbing him. Wilder's a better boxer than people give him credit for, and I'm not going to sit there and say he's a Sugar Ray Leonard or he's a Pernell Whitaker. Without question, he's far from that. But there's a method to his madness. It's not a coincidence that he seems to land that right hand against everyone every fight. He must know how to set it up, guys. Now, when he gets a guy hurt, does he go crazy and stuff? Yeah, but before he gets into that warrior madness mode where he's just friggin' throwing Thor hammers, right? Before he gets there, he's throwing straight punches down the pike. And look at that when he fought Spilka. He was backing up. Spilka was coming forward, and he had like this much space, and he shortened up that right hand and looped it and knocked out Spilka as Spilka was coming forward, and he was going backward.
And Spilka was winning that fight. I thought Spilka was winning that fight, by the way.
That's correct. I agree. But for Deontay Wilder to be able to generate that power from such a small space, being a tall guy that likes to throw straight punches, I think he's tweaked a few things in his game. I think he's added a little bit of variation to his game, and he's even throwing left hooks now, like that. He landed the right hand against Fury, but he also landed the left hook that helped put him down too. So and he's throwing. In the first fight with Ortiz, he threw that sneaky right uppercut that Ortiz didn't see coming. Ortiz leaned in a little bit. He was getting a little bit overconfident, and Wilder's like shot that little sneaky uppercut with the right hand in there. I mean, he's a little bit more savvy and creative than people give him credit for. Right. So if he's so sloppy and he winds up and he telegraphs everything, I think people totally underestimate the jab that he has.
He's setting the right hand up. I mean,
He's
you know,
setting-
and like
he's
you
set-
said, his jab has gotten much improved
Setting that
than
right
when
hand
it
up.
was early.
Yeah.
You know,
His left hook's better. I mean, he's obviously it's not it's going to be his money punch, but you know he's actually throwing it now more. He's putting punches together a lot better now, and he's setting them up a lot better now too, in my opinion.
yeah.
So
I mean, listen. I mean, he's got Breland as his trainer, and if you can't learn a jab from Breland, then I don't know where you can learn it from. You know, Mark Breland probably had the best jab in the business. You know what I mean? I mean, that guy can box. So, how did he gas? Though I've literally seen him thrown until the bell rang in the end of the 7th round. I'm assuming he's speaking about Ortiz. You could tell he gassed. Go look at the video. He gassed. Gas doesn't mean, you know, he can't throw a punch. He was dead. This guy, he was done, man. Nacho says Ortiz has really gotten in good shape for the fight, so if he loses, he can't have any excuses. Yeah, and he has. I mean, he looks great. I mean, he really does. And Andy Ruiz the same way. Looks great, man. He does. He looks good, but again, man, it's just I believe he's going to get caught, and I believe he's going to get caught early, and I don't think he's going to be able to recover. You know, do you think? Let me ask you, Liz. Let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Do you think that Ortiz can outbox Wilder?
not for the whole fight. No, not for the whole fight.
So he can't outbox him for the whole fight. Let's give him that. He can't outbox him for the whole fight. So you think that he will get clipped, and that's it? Do you think Wilder can win a decision over Ortiz?
Yes. Because even in that last fight, they had him up on the cards when he was clear.
Yeah, that was
clear
horrible. Yeah, and I did have, I think we did have Ortiz up too. I think all of us had Ortiz up on that fight too.
Yeah.
But it was turning. I mean, clearly the tide was turning. I think that, and then once you factor in those knockdowns, it's.
Well, let me ask you this: Do you envision Ortiz not getting knocked down in this fight?
No.
He's going to get knocked down at least once or twice, right?
No. Mr. Boxing today says that he's watched the fight an innumerable amount of times, bro. LOL. So let me ask you this, Mr. Boxing 2. Who do you got? You think that Ortiz is going to win this fight? Let's see what he says. Who does he got winning the fight?
Well, I don't think that he thinks that Ortiz is going to win, but I think what he's trying to say, and he could be right here. He's saying that he doesn't think Ortiz gassed. He just thinks that Wilder caught up to him before he could. Because Wilder was able to survive, and Wilder caught up to him before Ortiz could, jump back on Wilder. In other words, so Wilder recovered fast enough and just jumped right on Ortiz and hurt him. So he didn't give him a chance. He took him right out of the equation. So maybe he didn't have time to not be gassed. In other words, he as soon as Wilder recovered, that's when he jumped on Ortiz and knocked him out. So, and maybe he's saying that. I don't know. I kind of thought that he slowed down after that barrage in the 7th
Clearly
round.
slowed down. And he's got Wilder by KO between 5 and 7, Mr. Boxing says. So
Yeah.
it's all a moot point anyway.
I kind of see where he's going, though, because what he's trying to say is he just didn't have the ability to finish Wilder. And because, Wilder was able to weather the storm, Wilder hurt him immediately after that. And that's why he was, that's why he wasn't able to go back on the offensive, because he got hurt. More so, I think his position is he was more hurt than gassed. In other words, by Wilder coming back.
Yeah,
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's what I'm kind of gathering from what he's saying.
Yeah, he's wrong. So, and Jeff Ashton says he could see it going the distance.
I can't.
I can't see it going the distance, man.
I can't.
I can't.
And you know what? We'll check the odds later in the week. But
I would love to see the odds.
I bet you the over-under is going to be like probably fucking 8 rounds.
That's what I was thinking too. It's got to be 8, right?
And it's going to be like a -200. And Wilder by stoppage is going to be like a -200, 250. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I tell you what, yeah, I can't see it going the distance. And, the thing is, like, Ortiz is a guy who could actually, like you said, 3 years ago, outbox Wilder. And, could really, really stood a chance here. I think I think he's a little bit too old right now. And like you said, he's lost that, the reflex. He's lost that reflex. It's like you said, he's going to be able to see the punches, but there's nothing he's going to be able to do about them. Or he's going to be able to see those openings, and there's nothing he can't take advantage of.
Wilder weighed 214 pounds for the first fight. Like,
what do you think he's going to come in? You think he comes in at 220, or you think he still stays at, like, I think that's his best weight, man. I think,
you know what his best weight is? This is his best weight, not to cut you off.
No.
224 pounds is his best weight. That's perfect for him.
You think so, that heavy?
Yeah.
Because he's usually like two, like in the teens or whatever. Isn't he?
No. I think he was 228 or 226 for Brazil. Let me just.
Was he?
Yeah. Let me double check how much he weighed for Brazil. And he looked pretty filled out too. He's eating a lot more now too. He
said he did want to like get heavier.
Yeah.
He's talking about getting heavier, which.
Let me see how much he weighed for that Brazil fight. I'm just curious to see. Okay, so he weighed 223 pounds for the Brazil fight. Yeah, so like I said, 224 I think is his best. I said 224.
Yeah.
So he's like 223 against Brazil, and he blew him out of there in one round. So I think 223, 224 is his best weight. The guy's 6'7".
He's a big guy. He's a real big. That guy, he's a monster too. I remember, like I said, man, two of my hands were like one of his hand. I felt like a baby shaking that guy's hand.
I shook his hand?
Huge guy. Yeah.
He probably,
monster.
Your hand got like swallowed by his hand, huh?
It did. It absolutely did. That guy's a monster, man.
Yeah. He's a natural athlete too, man.
Yeah.
He's a natural athlete.
Absolutely, man.
He could probably run the 40-yard dash in a very respectable speed.
Right.
He can play a lot of sports. I'm sure he could play football, basketball.
He can do anything. Well, look at Errol Spence. He was like supposed to be like a real big football star over in Texas. In high school and stuff.
Everybody plays football in Texas, man.
Yeah. He was supposed to be like really, really good, like to the point where he could have went to college on it, but he was better at boxing, and that's scary too.
Kids in Texas are born with football helmets on.
It's nuts, isn't it? That play. Yeah. They build. They check this out. So in Texas, they build like stadiums, not like ordinary high school stadiums. I'm talking about like brick and mortar, like professional, like college pro stadiums for high schools, man. It's nuts.
Football is a big deal over there, man.
I thought it was big in Cincinnati, man. It's huge in Texas. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is, man. It is nuts. It's a big sport down there. All right, let's talk about is this pay-per-view worth the money? You know what I mean? Let's talk about, is this pay-per-view worth the $80 that you're going to spend on it? And I'm already getting Beeb's answer over here.
I'm sorry to say it's not.
We got Leo Santa Cruz in the co-main against Miguel Flores, which doesn't do a thing for me, I got to be honest. Brandon Figueroa versus Julio Ceja, again, doesn't do anything for me.
Nothing.
We got Louis Neri versus Manuel Rodriguez, which that one, to me, is the best fight on the card.
Yeah.
It is the best fight because but it could go south. That's one of those fights. That's one of those fights that could go south.
That Rodriguez guy knows how to make fights a stinker sometimes.
Yeah, he does. And
he can slow the fight right down to a snail's pace, bro.
Absolutely. And then but Louis Neri's got that power. He's got that game-stopping power, man.
Let's see if Neri can come in on weight.
Which is, that too. Because, he's pretty famous for coming in, 30, 45 pounds overweight, So you got, that to me is a good fight. But again, Manuel Rodriguez coming off that Inoue fight where he was just starched in the second round, man. I had him. I picked him to win that fight. And he was dropped. He was dropped in out. And, listen, Inoue can punch. What do you think Neri's going to do? Neri can punch too. Neri punches pretty hard.
He does. I think Neri's going to knock him out.
I think you might be right.
Right?
I think you might be right, But I want to see, I want to see the fight. I want to see it because I'm really high on this kid, Manuel Rodriguez. See what he's got. I mean, this is a big step after that Inoue fight. This is no cupcake. This is a big step. I can't wait. This is the fight I want to see on this card. This is the fight. Fight of the card, in my opinion. JC says, nah, Neri's better. Yeah, you could be right. But that's the pay-per-view lineup. I believe those 4 fights. I'm looking on the undercard and everything like that. No big names. Marcellus Wilder's on the undercard versus Dustin Long, 6 rounds cruiserweights, which is, if you don't know, Deontay's brother. But that's pretty much the only recognizable name after that. I mean, Ledwan Bartholomew versus Eduardo Ramirez in a rematch, junior lightweights, 10 rounds, which I believe will be on the they'll have like an undercard, like Fox Sports or something like that. Will probably have them on the undercard. So yeah, man. I mean, it's and they'll have those lead-ins and stuff. But $80 to watch a fight, number one, that I've already seen, and there's nothing in the fight that would indicate that it's going to go the other way. In fact, I mean, how long ago was that fight? Louis Ortiz has gotten older since the last fight. Why am I watching this? Why am I interested in this fight? Why do I need to pay for this fight? $80?
I'm with you, brother.
I mean, just quick in the chat, I'd be really interested to see like who is going to pay for this fight. I mean, and do you think the fight's worth it?
I think a lot of people are going to end up streaming it. I think a lot of people are going to watch it, but here's the problem now with pay-per-view. All the illegal streams, they're at an all-time high now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you put a card like this on, a lot of people are going to be bitching and complaining that it shouldn't be pay-per-view. And what's going to happen? It's going to get streamed. At least when you put a fight worthy of pay-per-view on pay-per-view, more people will say, you know what? I'm going to get behind this event. I'm going to buy it.
I don't mind buying it. I'm
sure a lot of people that normally buy pay-per-views are going to strongly consider streaming this now because they're unhappy they're unhappy that they're going to get a rematch for a fight that was already on Showtime, regular Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know what the result was. Now we're going to get, the fight's going to happen again. And basically, most people know what the result's going to be this time around again. But now you're going to make us pay pay-per-view money for this. So
Igloo 2 said he's watching. And yeah, man, that's good, man. Centurion said I'll buy it for $20.
So look what Igloo just said. He said if I can't,
I just caught it.
If I can't
he said he's watching. Yeah, right.
So he knows he's gonna try and.
If I can't get a good stream, I'll buy it.
he's gonna try and stream it. You know what's so crazy? The one time I said to myself, I'm not buying a pay-per-view was the Floyd Mayweather Marcos Maidana fight, right?
Yeah.
So I said, I'm not buying this. I'm going to fucking stream it. Fuck that. This shouldn't be pay-per-view, right?
Uh-huh.
So I got a stream. The thing kept freezing up on me, right? So I said, fuck it. I'm buying this. Fuck. I can't deal with this. And I bought it.
Mr. Boxing said he's going to be at the fight. All right. Well, good deal, man.
For real? Wow. Good
Very
for you,
nice, man. You got good seats?
My man.
It's awesome, man.
My man.
He's going to be our correspondent there. Right, Oh, man. Said Beeb would buy Hopkins versus Roy Jones. 3.
Yes, would I buy that? Yeah, I probably would. I'm a loser. Look at me.
You know,
Look at me.
I tell you, man, that's the thing, man. I'm so on the fence with this. I am so on the fence with this.
I would buy 2 kids fighting in the schoolyard playground, baby. Last week I bought a pay-per-view, 2 pigeons fighting over a piece of bread. That's how sick I am. That's how sick I am.
Boxing Today said he's got pretty good seats. That's awesome, man. Well, I hope you enjoy it, man. I tell you what, I hope you enjoy that fight.
Did you get credentialed, Mr. Boxing Today? Or you going as a fan? You're not going as a media member?
Is he a media guy?
He gets media passes sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that. What's this podcast? Does he have a podcast or something?
No, he has a really big YouTube channel. He's been on YouTube since like 2009.
I'm an airhead. I don't know any of this. I don't know any of this. I'm like, you know. What's his channel? What's his channel? Let's shout it out.
That's his chance. That's his channel. Mr. Boxing Today 2.
There you go. Okay, Mr. Boxing Today 2. Go visit his site, man.
He's like an encyclopedia. He knows all the heavyweights.
That's awesome, man.
Oh, you going as a fan? That's all right.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, go check out his YouTube channel, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out.
He's got an awesome YouTube channel. Make sure everyone subscribes to Mr. Boxing Today in the chat.
Right, absolutely, man.
Awesome YouTube channel.
Yeah,
he does real good work, man.
That's awesome, man. I want to check it out.
I used to do collaborations with him, man.
Really?
Me, him, D-Style, Carcino. Remember, Carcino?
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Sean Craddock. Yeah, we used to go on Uvu, and there'd be like all 4 of us.
I remember Uvu.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's an OG, brother.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's good.
That's awesome, man.
We should have him on like one next time. There's a big.
We ought to have him. You know what we had? The Ruiz fight. Let's get him on for the Ruiz fight.
If he wants to come on,
let's get him on for the Ruiz fight.
You want to come on for the Ruiz fight, Mr. Boxing Today, when we do the preview?
Yeah, we'll do the preview. We'll bring you on.
Bring you on if you want. Send you a link. Yeah, without question.
You said those were the Uvu days back in 09.
Yeah, that was awesome, bro.
That's a trip, man. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. Will I buy it? I'll probably end up buying it because I'm a loser. But should you buy it? You know, you as a fan, should you guys buy it, man? If somebody came to me like a casual fan and said, "Hey, is this something? Should I check this fight out?" I would probably tell them no. Man, because it's not going to be. Even their even their undercard isn't great. They've got one really solid fight on that undercard.
Eric, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to promote this card because it's good for boxing, man. We need interest in the heavyweight division. Like we need, like, Deontay Wilder is our champion, man. We got to get behind him.
He's my guy, man. I like Deontay Wilder.
We got to get behind Deontay Wilder, man.
I like him a lot, man. He's good for the sport.
That's what I'm saying. I like Deontay. Even though my Fury's my favorite fighter,
he's good for the sport too.
I still love Deontay Wilder, man.
Yeah, Deontay.
I really have a lot of admiration for Deontay Wilder. I like what he stands for, man.
How could you? He turned down a franchise belt. How could you not be a Deontay fan? I mean, really, how could you not be a Deontay fan?
People think I don't like Deontay Wilder because I'm such a huge Fury fan, but that's not the case. I love Deontay Wilder. I have so much respect for Deontay Wilder. I love his story, man.
And I'll tell you what, you know how I feel about rematches. I don't like them. If I saw the fight once, I don't need to go back and see it again. But the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight is one I want to see again. It just is,
Ralph said, "Love is blind."
What's that?
He hates Deontay Wilder, man.
Oh, how dare you.
He can't stand Deontay Wilder.
Love is blind.
That's crazy.
That's funny. What are you watching?
I got a freaking phone call coming in here.
We're right in the middle of a show.
I got to put this on airplane mode. I'm so sorry, folks.
What are you doing? Just silence it. Come on, Beeb.
Lois,
Jesus.
Lois, this is your job, Lois.
You're playing a blow-up doll.
Enough with that. Enough. You're supposed to have this under control, Lois.
Come on.
Lois, give me a water. Thank you. Well, gotta put you to use here, for Christ's sakes. All right. Sorry about that, folks. I got it on airplane mode now.
Wow. Yeah, so I mean, if you're asking me, should you buy it? Nah, it doesn't really meet the pay-per-view criteria. You know what? You know what the worst part is? Is like I would be willing to pay for it, like if it had a really good undercard. You know, sometimes you can overlook a lousy main event with a good undercard, like the KSI Logan Paul. You know, I mean, they had Billy Joe Saunders, they had Devin Haney. I mean, granted, they were squash matches, but whatever. You know, you can sometimes overlook a card like that but it's not really that great, to be honest. Not really that great. So it is what it is. So, but you know, I'm a loser. I'll end up watching it because I suck, and I've got a sickness. You know, I'm sick. There's nothing I can do about it. I'll end up watching it. I know I will. I talk great, you know, but yeah. So you know, we got to do a show on Friday with the weigh-ins.
I'll do one. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do a show Friday on the weigh-ins to see, you know, that whole thing. But so let's talk about it. All right, so you sent me a link about Anthony Joshua and the fan. Was it fans accusing him of cashing out?
I think it was media as well because now to be fair to Joshua, he hasn't come out and said these things, but I guess they're saying that win, lose, or draw, he's going to retire after this fight. Eddie Hearn put that information out there. I guess he said that Joshua indicated that is possibly something that he would consider doing. Even Gabe Rosado, Gabe Rosado was you know, saying things like you know, Anthony Joshua sounds like a guy that's still concussed, meaning the way he's talking and stuff. I'm going to be honest with you, and again, I could be totally off with this, but he just doesn't seem like he wants it anymore to me. You know? That's just how I feel. I just don't think he wants it anymore.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care. I mean, either way, he's got a fight coming up, and he's going to have to be in there. So whether he wants to be there or not, listen, he's going to have to enter the ring. But that being said, they were complaining, Beeb. They were complaining because they said he's going to cash out because his pay-per-views typically are $19.95.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going up to $24.95. Well, let me tell you what. My heart really bleeds for you, okay? We're got to pay $80 for the Wilder-Ortiz fight. $80. Think about that. Let that marinate for a minute while you guys are paying $37 US for this. $80. $80. Beeb. And you're complaining that you got to pay, what, $25? Get out of here. I want to hear that nonsense. You serious? This is what we're arguing. Come on, man. Beeb. These are your people. These are your people.
It's crazy, bro.
Well, you know what? You know what? You're responsible for them. You, Beeb, nobody else. You are responsible for this. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
God save our queen.
That's right. You and your people are responsible for AJ cashing out. Nobody else. I don't care. It is what it is.
I'm sorry.
It is what it is. I don't know that you are. I got to be honest.
I'm sorry.
It sounds cynical. I got to be honest. Sounds, you know, I don't know. A little bit of sarcasm there.
I can't leave my people.
Somebody in the chat just like Dale from Chi-Town said, God save the Beeb. That's right. That's right. Taxes are much higher in the UK, says no need a car. There you go. Centurion Sunday said, it's really not free, but it's much less than $80. Yeah, you could say that again. Jeez. You guys are complaining about that. How come we never get prices like that? When was the last time a pay-per-view was $25, Beeb? They got motocross pay-per-views don't even cost $25 anymore.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
That's hilarious.
All right, so let's clarify here. We both think Wilder will win by KO. I say within 6. You're saying within 6 as well?
I'm saying 5.
Ah, all right. All right. Beeb
5.
says 5. Beeb says, the slender, more buff Ortiz will not make a difference. What's the matter with you?
This is what Ortiz looks like right now, baby. He's ripped like this.
Oh, come on. Don't give him that much credit. I mean, come on now, Beeb. All right. Let's go into our news and rumors here. So KSI versus Logan Paul, that fight was very highly rated on DAZN from what we hear. Eddie Hearn came out and said that the Logan Paul KSI 2 fight was the highest rated fight on DAZN this year. Higher than Canelo, higher than Anthony Joshua. Beeb, is he full of it or what? Or was it? I mean, why would he lie about it? Who cares? I mean, nobody, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't think he would lie about it because, he's a big Joshua guy, right? And he's trying to pump up Joshua all the time.
Yeah.
So why would he go out there and say that Logan Paul and KSI did more than friggin' Joshua and in all his fights? So to be perfectly honest with you, Canelo is the man over there. That's why the Dish is giving that package, the 3 months free of DAZN, because if you buy the Latino package, because it's based off of Canelo's popularity. Canelo's the one driving the ship over there. But if KSI did more than the Canelo fights, then that would be something spectacular too. Is he trying to say that was the biggest, the most watched fight on DAZN ever?
I don't know about ever. I think it was this year, though. This year is the biggest one this year.
Okay.
Incidentally, Buddy Asa says that Ortiz is going to win in the 8th. So there you go.
Wow.
But yeah, I think that I don't see why he would lie about it. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's got a pretty big stock, I guess, per se in DAZN. He's got his fighters in it. He's got, I mean, they've got a lot of, why would you lie about that? So much so that he says that he's interested. He's actually interested in having other YouTubers on to do the same thing. That's what he said. He said this may not be his last YouTube type of fight.
Are you going to fill out an application?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we're gonna get on there. You're gonna fill out an application too. What about we're gonna call Montero up. He's gonna fill out an application. I don't know. Montero can really fight though. I mean, he could really box. I don't know. Oh, we'll go in there with him. Well, I'll go in there and for that money. I'll go in there. Are you kidding me?
I was gonna say you can go in there with Jason.
Go in there with. I kill Jason. Kidding? Kill Jason.
No, Lois, I'm not gonna do it. Don't worry. I was only kidding.
Wow, she's got you wrapped up, doesn't she, Beeb?
Yeah, she's getting nervous.
She's got you wrapped up, son. Yeah, we're gonna get all the YouTubers on there. Yeah, we're gonna get all the YouTuber guys on there, and then stage our show here on DAZN. There you go. Let's see here. This is I tell you what. This is and I was gonna make this our train wreck of the week. I feel bad. Now, okay, no, Nonita Carr says that they would pay. They would pay for me and Jason $30 for me versus Jason. Yeah, I think that's good. I'd do that.
It's a good one.
Robbie versus Lois. Dale and Chi-Town says Robbie versus Lois.
Dale, please, Dale, don't go there, Dale, please. She's a secretary. She's an administrative assistant. I'm sorry. Okay, administrative assistant. I got it.
JC said the train wreck of the week is that caller from Chicago last week. Reese Mack said Jason's a debater, not a fighter. He's a masturbator, not a fighter. Yeah, D-Style versus Beeb. There you go. Wow, D-Style just calling you out. It's great. Wow.
D-Style, you're too much for me. I'm going to be 50 in a couple of weeks. You're too much for me. You're still in your prime.
Fight Doctor versus Sean Newton. Wow, this really took on a life of its own, didn't it?
That's hilarious.
Interesting. We might be onto something here, Beeb. Might be onto something here.
I think we got it.
That's right. So yeah, Eddie Hearn says he's interested in doing more YouTubers and stuff like that. So, all right. So let's move along here. The train wreck of the week. And again, I don't really want to call it the train wreck of the week because this is sad. So Tommy Morrison's wife says he didn't have AIDS, and she's actually got a lawsuit to clear Morrison's name, stating that he never had HIV/AIDS. This is tough because I can't imagine what she's going through. I mean, like heartache and everything like that. I get it, man.
It's horrible.
It is. It's a horrible thing that she had to go through, and the worst part about it is that like she had to do this in the public eye. It's not bad enough that somebody has to go through this. She had to do this in the public eye, which is, I can't imagine it would be like. Just imagine the grief you feel when somebody close to you passes, and then you have to do this all in public. So it's tough. It's a tough thing to do. But to say to me anyway, I mean, to say he never had HIV when it was so clearly documented is kind of foolish. I mean, it's like, come on, man. I mean, she claims they didn't want him to fight Tyson, along with other conspiracy theories, and it was made up a bunch of other, there was a lot of other conspiracy theories that went along with this. Don King signed Morrison to a 3-fight deal. 3-fight deal, $10 million, 3-fight deal. And, that was it. I mean, in the first fight, he got pulled because he had to get tested. And his manager tells a story. And I went back and watched it today. The manager tells a story. He says that Morrison called him up, and he said that they want me to take a blood test for the commission. And the guy's like, okay, so what? So take the blood test. And he was like, well, I didn't want to do anything when you weren't here. And he said, don't be stupid. Just take the blood test, And Morrison claimed at the time he was afraid of needles or whatever, I mean, all right, But he wound up taking the blood test, and, the rest is kind of history. They wound up, testing positive. But his mom said that he suspected that, or both he had talked to her, and he suspected him that he had already contracted the virus like 7 years ago. You know what I mean? And this was like back in '89. They said that back in '89 that he had contracted the virus because they had went through like insurance papers and stuff like that, or there was something that, that he signed and he had to let them know. There was things that he had let people know, and that was one of them. And in local commissions and stuff back in the day, they weren't like, everything else. It wasn't like it is today where, everything is a lot safer. Everything is a lot, you're tested. You're more of under a microscope. And, but she claims that he never had AIDS. And they said that we took an AIDS test, when he died, and he tested clean. We tested. Dude, did you see his picture? Did you see like one of his last, it was a mugshot, one of his last pictures. It was insane how much he aged. He was 44 when he passed. He looked like he was in his 60s. It was bad. I mean, and he was taking the medicine, and the thing I was watching said it wasn't that 30 for 30, it was something else. And they said he was taking the medicine for a little bit. And I remember him saying this in a documentary I watched, that he looked at, I guess, the AIDS medicine, the AZT or whatever it was, looked at all the symptoms that like the, you take medicine and it has the side effects. And he looked at all the side effects, and the side effects were the same thing as the HIV side effects. So he said he stopped taking it. And this is when it kind of, and at that point, when he stopped taking those meds, he just went completely downhill. She says that it was from some kind of heart surgery. Apparently he had a heart surgery and he had complications from that. And that's what made him, ultimately pass away. But it wasn't from AIDS. And I mean, the thing is, you don't die from AIDS. AIDS never really killed anyone, okay? I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't. But it's complications from the disease that kill you. You know what I mean? That's, your kidneys shut down, or your heart has issues, or your immunity is compromised. The flu can kill you at that point. A cold can kill you at that point. When your immunity like that is compromised, any number of things can take you out. So he doesn't necessarily have to pass away from AIDS, but most likely it may have been a complication from the disease. But they have, and this has been, and I remember Tommy Morrison himself doing an interview saying that I don't have it. He said, I don't have AIDS. And they're saying that the commission lifted the ban on him.
Well, HIV, he said, I don't have it.
HIV, yeah, HIV. And I remember him also saying, that it's impossible to get it through heterosexual contact. In other words, if you have to be gay, and you have to be gay in order to get HIV, which is completely crazy. I mean, it is just completely crazy to think that, and I understand like back in the 80s and stuff like that, when this first came along, I get that, because that's what everybody thought, but it's no longer that way.
But didn't they say he got it from needles?
That I don't know. That I don't know. But what I do know is that through all these documentaries, they show pictures of him. They show pictures of Morrison with girl after girl after girl. I mean, these are like model looking girls, I mean, this is Tommy Morrison, man, who looked like a model himself. I mean, this kid could have been a Hollywood superstar, I mean, and this guy, he's an athlete, he's a big guy, athlete, popular in his hometown. Every girl, I would imagine in Oklahoma where he grew up, I imagine he didn't have too much trouble. So they said he liked to party, and I don't understand the fact that, they say, they're very adamant that he didn't have AIDS, and they're very adamant that he didn't have HIV or whatever. I don't understand that. Having HIV, is no different than having diabetes. It's no different than having cancer. It's no different than having any other disease out there. Nobody asked for it. And you could say, well, you could have prevented it. Yeah, you could prevent diabetes too. You could prevent a lot of things. I don't understand the shame associated with it now. Now that the time has passed. I understand back then, like I said, in the 80s and 90s, I get it. Now, completely different time. Why are we having this discussion? Why is this so hard for you to swallow? And why? I mean, his own mother said that he told her that he thought he had it, that he suspected that he had it. And, and then he comes out later on, and he had a bunch of theories too, and saying that, well, you can't get it through two heterosexuals, only if you're gay you can get it. You can't get it, it's impossible to get it this way.
Yeah, but he was on steroids though, so he's using needles. He could have got it from the needles.
He could have got it from, but I mean, the chances that he got it from a needle, honestly, are probably slim.
It's easier. It's easier to get.
I don't know. I don't know how it goes. I know, like I hear with the heroin and stuff like that. I hear you share needles, but do you share needles on like steroids? I mean, do two guys like shoot each other up with it? I mean, I don't know.
You never know. You never know what if you're getting stuff on the street. You don't know where you're getting your needles from. You don't know if the needles. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, unless you're opening a package up, like a fresh package, like they do,
I think he did drugs too.
Doctors.
I mean, he did a lot. I think he did. He was a partier, Eric. He did crazy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But even if he caught it for drugs, who cares where he caught it or how he got it? He got it.
Got it. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how he got it. That's the thing. I mean, yeah. And I understand that there's a big a lot of people associate like this shameful thing. Associated with it, but there's no shame involved in it. It's a disease, and he got it. I mean, would you be ashamed if you got cancer? Would you be ashamed if you got diabetes or meningitis or whatever? There's nothing to be ashamed of.
And the medication they have today, forget about it. So
The medication they had back then, Magic Johnson, you know, you seen him?
well, the sad part about this whole thing is his wife was being interviewed, and I was listening to one of the interviews on YouTube today, and Big John McCarthy was interviewing her. I guess he had a podcast back in the day, and he asked her straight up. He said, "Do you believe that HIV and AIDS exists?" And she wouldn't answer him. She wouldn't say yes. So she's in denial that the disease even exists. So she probably talked Tommy Morrison into believing the disease exists as well. She probably convinced him that the disease doesn't exist, and I don't want to be overly assuming here, but it seems as though she possibly could have had an influence on him, and probably reinforced it in his mind that he didn't have AIDS, and that also reinforced it in his mind that AIDS and HIV possibly doesn't exist. So if you don't think the disease exists, then that goes one step further than you by you saying that you don't have it. If you how could you have something you don't even think exists? Because she wouldn't.
That's crazy.
And there's a lot of people out there that are HIV and AIDS deniers.
For sure.
There's a lot of people that don't think the disease exists. And I will say one thing. It is extremely, extremely, extremely hard to get it from vaginal sex, from man to woman. The biggest risks are, not to sound grotesque, but the biggest risk is anal sex, whether it be man or woman. It's anal sex because that's where the blood, But who knows what he did? Who knows?
Yeah, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible to catch it through female.
I guess the thing, the odds are though, you have it's less than 1% though, to be perfectly honest with you. They ran the numbers. It's like less. It's like 0.004% getting it from vaginal intercourse. It's very hard to get that way.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get through needles. It's very easy to get through anal sex, whether it be man or female.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's no matter how you get it. How you get it.
The antibodies were in his system. There's no way to deny it.
Right. Again, there's no shame associated with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This isn't like, there's no shame associated with it. And so that's why, I don't understand why she continues to deny it. And, and this seems like a real frivolous thing, to be honest with you. And it's just sad to me. No, it really is. It's just sad to me.
It hurts my heart to even have to talk about this because it's just sad to see that a guy like Tommy Morrison died at 44 years old. That's the big tragedy here.
Yeah.
And for her to say that, clear his name, and like you said, it's not an egregious thing being diagnosed with AIDS. It's not a shameful thing being diagnosed with AIDS. I mean, it happens. I mean, things happen.
It happens. It's the same thing.
Or I should say HIV. It's not shameful.
Right.
Thing being,
right.
Because
But if you look at there's too much evidence to suggest that he had it. You know what I mean? There's way too much evidence to suggest that he had it. And again, I'm not privy to his medical records, and I don't need to be. I mean, why would all these people? I mean, what is it? Let's ask you this, okay? Because when there's a conspiracy theory, okay, like this, like he didn't have it and they were out to get him. All right, I'll listen to you. What's the payoff? What's the payoff? What is the payoff? What is the payoff of me getting him out of the game? What's the payoff?
Oh,
that he doesn't want to fight Tyson? That they didn't want him to fight Tyson? You know how big of a fight that would have been?
Listen, Don King put Tyson in there with Peter McNeely.
Right?
Why would he not want to put him in there with Tommy Morrison?
Are you kidding me? Don King put Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney together. All right? And it's like, dude, I mean, you think about that for a minute. You think about it like Mr. All-American, this white guy from Oklahoma, got the movie star good looks, can fight, got a big left hand, can knock you out against King Kong over here. You know what I mean? Like this big guy that's indestructible, black guy versus white guy. Of course they're going to go. I mean, of course he wanted that fight to happen.
He fought Lennox Lewis. He fought George Foreman.
Right.
Why wouldn't they give him Tyson?
Right. That makes zero sense. That makes zero sense. From a money standpoint, let me tell you what, if anybody could promote that fight, is Don King.
Don King was probably dreaming of that matchup.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding?
Dreaming of it.
So, again, I ask you, that runs a dead end. So, I ask you again, what's the payoff? What's the payoff of blacklisting this kid? There is no payoff. If you don't think that you could have made millions with this guy, you know what I mean? Even after he was a little bit past his prime, they still could have made millions with him.
Yeah.
He's a marketing dream. He is a marketing dream. They could have took this guy. Again, there is no, if a promoter can make money off of it, a lot of money, they're not, what are they going to fake his doctor's reports? They're going to fake this and turn this into a giant smear campaign? It is what it is, man. Stop it. Just stop it. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, man. And I was reading up on her, and she also rails against vaccinations, stuff like that. I mean, I think, you know how McCarthy came out with the whole vaccinations cause autism and stuff like that nonsense. You know, I mean, so yeah, it's sad. It's sad is what it is, because there's plenty of other ways to keep his memory going than this. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
No, I understand.
All right, area code 602, Phoenix. You're live. 602, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Not much, man. So what's the topic for tonight, man? I hear you guys going on and on about Tommy Morrison. I'm like, what the hell happened? Did Tommy Morrison come back from the dead? What's going on?
No, his wife, no, we just read it this week, man, that his wife actually filed a lawsuit. It's actually an ongoing lawsuit. It didn't happen this week, but she's still in the thing, and there was an article written about it. You can go read it on WBN. But the article was stating that she says that he never had HIV, that he was never, that he was never diagnosed with it. It was like a big smear thing and everything like that. So that was our topic here. We're also talking about Deontay Wilder, the big fight next week. But that was what was going on with the Tommy Morrison thing.
Okay. Anyway, man, well, let's talk about Wilder real quick. But I do want to, before I get into that, I want to talk about Canelo, because I wanted to call in that show, man, but I missed it. I thought that was a good performance by Canelo. When by the time the fight was getting ready to get over, I thought that he kind of had it in hand, and I thought it was a little Amir Khan-ish, the way he took Kovalev out.
What do you mean? What do you mean Amir Khan-ish?
Just like the way he broke him down. He broke him down like he broke down Khan. He went to the body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Kovalev fought just like Khan. Kovalev was throwing these pity-pat punches out, never put anything behind the right hand, and he just kind of walked in and broke him down. And I think that he really blocked a lot of his punches with his guard. I think, Canelo defensively is a really, really sound fighter.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself that, do I now, if I compare Canelo to Oscar in his prime, who would you take in that fight? Would you take Oscar, 154-pound Oscar, the one that fought Tito, or Canelo right now in a fight?
At 154? What weight?
At 154.
If they fought at 154?
Oscar De La Hoya that fought Tito Trinidad.
Man.
Versus, the Canelo of right now.
At 154, I would probably, Beeb, I would probably lean toward De La Hoya.
I take Canelo.
You take Canelo? Yeah, I think it's a toss-up, man. I really do.
I think Canelo.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I still think Oscar has better feet, but Canelo has an excellent guard, man. I mean, the guy's a real fighter. You know what I'm saying? I got to give him this props.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We hyped him up, and at this point, you got to say he's delivered.
Oh, for sure.
Delivered on the promise.
For sure.
So who you guys taking this week?
Wilder. We both got Wilder. Beeb says in the 5th round. I say in the 6th round. KO.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I agree with you, man. I think Wilder's probably going to win this fight. But the thing about Wilder that is really missed in today, with all this stuff, the back and forth and the crews in boxing, people want to root for this company or that company. Wilder really is the most exciting fighter to watch in the sport, hands down. Nobody has more exciting fights than Wilder. So you never know, man. Ortiz could catch him. One of these days, Wilder's going to get caught. I don't think Deontay Wilder's going to finish his career as an undefeated fighter.
I don't think so either. I think that, but that's what makes him exciting. Is that he's a flawed fighter,
Mm-hmm.
And you watch him, you're like, this guy can be beat, but are you going to beat him before he lands the right hand? That's the big thing, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think he retires undefeated. No. But I also don't think Ortiz is the guy to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got the ability. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't think it's going to happen tomorrow night. I put my money on Wilder. Anything. I would just put the money on KO after 4 rounds, or KO after 6 rounds, something like that. What's the over/under on the fight?
What is the over/under of that fight? Beeb and I haven't looked at it yet, but we're guessing 8 rounds.
I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up for you.
8 rounds is a little deep, but you never know. You never know. Anyway, guys, man, that's my take, man. You guys keep doing what you do, man. I'll holler at y'all, all right?
All right, man. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Good call.
All right.
All right. So, let's talk about this, too, in the news here. Eddie Hearn violating the Muhammad Ali Act. And, Beeb, you brought this to my attention this week.
Yeah.
So we were kind of wondering why the Jacobs-Chavez fight was in Arizona. And it didn't really hit me at the time. I guess if we thought about it, it would hit us. But turns out it's because Chavez is suspended in Nevada. I forgot about that. I thought it was just cleared up. And, that was it. I mean, it just got cleared up. Maybe he took the test and we're going on with the fight. Well, it turns out, I mean, Chavez is suspended in Nevada for not providing that sample, that drug test sample. And a lot of people say that, I read that they said that multiple sources say this ain't the first time it's happened. It's not uncommon for this to happen, where the guy shows up and he wants a sample or whatever, and Chavez just walks out or he refuses to give it to him. And listen, it's because he's not clean, On Friday, November 8th, Matchroom announced at a news conference in L.A. that Jacobs-Chavez would not be in Las Vegas, but instead would be in Phoenix. The federal Muhammad Ali Act does not permit fighters who are suspended in one state from competing in the other. So Bob Bennett, commission executive for Nevada, says that considers Chavez's refusal to submit to a test as an anti-doping violation, and he was suspended on October 30th with a hearing scheduled for November 18th. But because Matchroom opted to proceed with a bout in Arizona, Nevada is actually threatening to pull its promoter's license. Beeb, is this likely to happen? I mean, I don't think it's very likely to happen. But,
This Muhammad Ali Act, with all due respect, has never, ever, ever been enforced, ever. Name one incident where this was actually enforced on somebody, and it stuck. So Bob Bennett
can legally revoke that license now. I mean, he's a commissioner; he can do what he wants. I mean,
but how many times has there been Matchroom fights in Vegas? Anyways, Eddie does a lot of work in New York.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah,
so Vegas doesn't allow him to promote fights there.
Right.
Big deal. Big fucking deal. You fight in New York. Fight in California.
Could this trickle down? Well, I guess it couldn't trickle down. I mean, Golden Boy's got a pretty good relationship in Vegas. I mean, that's where a lot of his cards are. So, yeah, I don't know. D-Style, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And he says, Chavez Jr. is a disgrace. Just don't tell Alex T. That's right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, He's not submitting to drug tests. He's not, and my guess, and I don't know this for a fact, but, if I had to guess, I would say because he's, not clean.
He's on diuretics.
He's on something.
He's always on diuretics.
He looks horrible.
You can't.
He looks horrible. Did you see him? Did you see his pictures?
You could tell he's on diuretics. Can I tell you why?
Sure.
Because he'll walk around at 200 pounds, and then all of a sudden he'll get down to like 160, but he's skinny fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't have an ounce of muscle on his body, with all due respect. I'm not trying to down the guy, but it's a prime case of diuretics. That's what he takes. That's how he makes weight. He takes diuretics.
And I'll tell you what, he does not look good. He really does. He looks like he's aged quite a bit.
He looks all dried out. He looks flat because he's on all types of fucking drugs.
Yeah.
He abuses fucking alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Does a lot of recreational drugs too.
Yeah.
Smokes a lot of pot. What probably does more. He always looks like he's Skeletor in the face, says JC. Why do you think that is? Because he's on diuretics.
Yeah.
That's what people on diuretics look like. They look all fucking sunken in.
I tell you what though, think about it as a promoter. He's got to be a liability, just like Jarrell Miller now. I mean, I would have never thought Jarrell Miller was a liability before. Now, are you kidding me? He's got to be a liability.
There's already a backup opponent lined up if he doesn't.
Think about that for a minute.
Gabe Rosado.
We've got a main event, but we got a backup now.
Gabe Rosado was the backup opponent for this fight.
Right.
Can I tell you something? They should just have Danny Jacobs fight Gabe Rosado at 168.
They really should. He's not making it to that fight. He ain't making it to that fight.
Because I'll say one thing about what Bob Bennett has said. You kind of don't want to have a bad relationship with Vegas, though. You kind of don't. Because eventually you may want to go there.
Well, not only that, but, if you're suspended in one commission, usually all the big ones follow suit.
Not everyone will follow suit, but a lot will. But a lot will.
All the mega venues.
I agree with that, Eric. You're right.
What, they had to go to Memphis? You remember that? They had to go to Memphis, of all places, Memphis.
That's right.
For Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson. You know what I mean?
Gordon Wright says Rosado's a punching bag. Okay, so what's Chavez Jr.? I mean, he's not. Did you see the Canelo fight?
And you know what? And Centurion says Chavez Jr. is a Latino brawler. How dare you? Brought from Titletown, son. Gordon Wright says Rosado's a punching bag. Yeah, you know what? You may be right. And Rosado's best days are past him. I agree with you. 100% agree with you.
What about Chavez Jr.? He's not a defensive.
Right.
He's not a defensive.
It's not like he's Pernell Whitaker or anything. I mean, it's not like this guy's coming out like going nuts on people. I mean, this guy, he's past it too. He's past it too, man.
He's more than past it.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, and somebody in the chat just said that, he gets a lot of breaks because of his name. Yeah.
Of course he does.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a given.
And get this. So Chavez Jr. also says that once he wins the fights against Danny Jacobs, he's going to look to reestablish himself at 168 or 175 and look for a rematch with Canelo. Really?
That's not going to happen.
There's no way that's going to happen. I don't care if Chavez becomes undisputed champion. That ain't happening. Nobody wants to see that fight again.
He would have to knock Danny Jacobs out 13 times in that fight for that to happen.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on, man. He's all talk. And then like I said, what's the over-under, Beeb, if this fight even makes it to November or whenever it's going to happen? I think it was November 18th, or that's not even it. Not November 18th, but that's what his trial is tomorrow, or his thing for Nevada.
That fight ain't happening.
That fight ain't happening, son. He ain't getting there. If he's got to get tested, he ain't making it. He ain't making it. No way.
If you're Eddie Hearn and you hear all of this stuff, this is the problem with Eddie Hearn. The whole Dillian White situation. I'm not going to go back into that, but then this kind of reaffirms it. You can't align yourself and attach yourself to something like this, Eddie Hearn. Like,
No.
you don't want a guy that's going to refuse a drug test, that's going to open up all types of suspicion and a can of worms.
Yep.
Now people are going to think that he's on something. Like, you don't want all this negativity surrounding an event.
No. You don't.
You just don't.
No. I mean, and, Arizona is a good place for this fight, believe it or not. I think, where they're at, they're fighting in Phoenix. It's a good place for it. The big Mexican contingent there. They love Chavez there. They're, they love fighting there. But the reason you moved it, it's just a big liability. He's just a big liability. And I will be shocked if he makes it to the fight. I will be. All right, Sean Newton brought it up. And before we talk about the Harrison Charlo presser, we'll talk about this. The PBC belt. There was a rumor. Chris Mannix did an interview. Who did he interview?
Some guy from
Somebody,
Fox.
I don't know.
Someone from Fox.
Somebody significant. Anywho, they said that they're actually going to they're looking to make a PBC belt. All right. So because they don't recognize it, and I didn't really realize this. Head of Fox, Sean Newton said the head of Fox. I didn't really realize this, but they don't recognize the WBO. Maybe that's why they don't recognize Terrence Crawford or whatever. I mean, they don't even bring his name up, which is ridiculous.
That's so stupid.
Got to be the best fighter possibly the best welterweight in the world.
Correct.
They don't even bring his name up.
Very stupid.
Do you like the idea of a PBC belt?
I absolutely hate it. I abhor it.
How dare you? It's a family show.
I'm sorry.
Abhor it.
I hate it.
Come on. Stop it.
I hate it. Every now and then I do pull out the thesaurus.
Not on this show, buddy. So, I tell you what. I love the idea if it's executed correctly, but it won't be executed correctly, and I'll tell you why. Because not everybody is signed into the PBC. That's why it won't be executed correctly. If it was like UFC and you got all the best talent there, different animal. Love it. Love the idea. But since it's the PBC and, maybe we got a third of the talent there or something like that, and it's deep. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's deep. But what are we going to have a PBC title for the middleweights? Or the one... Come on, man. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, man.
It's disgusting.
And then we're going to add another belt to the fray, which, we're talking about alphabet soups already with a regular title, the franchise title, and stuff like that. But, yeah, I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I like the idea, but this is not going to be executed right. If we were in, like I said, if the UFC, I mean, let's face it, the guys in UFC are the best in the world. We're not going to go to one championship fighting and look for the best in the world. You're going to go to UFC. And as I say that, Demetrius Johnson fights in one, and he might be the best in the world. But I digress. The best fighters are in the UFC. All right? It just is that way. The best fighters are not in the PBC. They have very good fighters. And Sean Newton says only PBC fighters can win. You're right. Only PBC fighters can win. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
What you're basically doing is creating a minor league, basically, because...
That's what you're doing. Another WBC International Youth Belt.
You're creating a minor league.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, man. Honestly, it doesn't. Bad idea. Bad idea.
It's a horrible idea.
It was good back in the day when they had all this stuff and people would flock. People could flock to the PBC and find out who the best is, but out that way, man.
You know where they got this idea from? Remember back in the day they had the ESPN belt?
No. I don't even remember that.
The guy that who's the guy that had the pastor of Paris in his gloves there?
Margarito.
No, Louis Resto.
Louis Resto, yeah.
He had the ESPN belt.
No, he took the padding out of his glove, didn't he? Or did he put plaster? I
No,
thought he took the padding.
took the padding out. I'm sorry.
That's what it was. Yeah. He had the ESPN belt.
Yeah, he had the ESPN belt.
Jeez, what a story that was. Did you ever watch that documentary?
I got sick.
Oh my God, that was nuts, man.
Google that. Google ESPN boxing title. They had a belt and everything. It's funny.
Yeah, and where is it now? You don't even remember it. You know what I mean?
No one even knows. No one even remembers
Nobody
it.
remembers it. All right. Did you catch? This is amazing, man. That Tony Harrison versus Jermell Charlo presser.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Oh, it was the best ever.
Oh,
I mean, that was the best ever. Harrison really went after Jermell Charlo in this presser, man. Called him every name in the book. Charlo just seemed to be a little bit more subdued than he normally is. And I think Harrison may have his number. I think he may be in his head. Did you see the coach, Harrison's coach, like go up to him and like, you know, and he was like, get out of here. Harrison was just like kind of batted him away or whatever. He kept talking. I mean, it's insane. That if you have not seen that press conference, Google it. Go YouTube it and watch it, man. He destroys Charlo in that press conference. It was wicked. And he had no comebacks for it. You know how he's usually like, they're both usually all real loud, real in your face and everything. He looked subdued. He looked like a puppy sitting there. He didn't look good, man.
He's not used to someone going at him like that. That's why.
No, he's not, is he?
No.
He's not, man, because he went completely after him. And he just sat there.
I don't care what anyone says. I thought Harrison won the first fight. I had it 115, 113.
You did, yeah. You had Harrison. Now, I had Charlo winning the first fight. And I remember it was like bad decisions on that card. I remember the other Charlo should have lost and this Charlo should have won. But
yeah.
Hey, the judges said what they said and he won. You know.
Charlo didn't set the world on fire that fight. Not both Charlos didn't.
No, neither one of them looked that great. And Earthquake says Jermell just wanted to talk about his ankles. He's right. He had nothing. And, I mean, Harrison sat there, ran him up one side and right down the other, man. I mean, just completely demolished him.
You know what baffles me? The guy didn't fight anyone in between. And then when he came back, he signed right away to fight you. So what are you saying? That he just took a year off and decided he's not going to make any money for a year just for the hell of it?
Right.
What does that mean? Like,
right, exactly.
No, he didn't get the surgery. How many times have you gotten an injury where the doctor would say you have an option to get the surgery, but you don't have to get the surgery?
Right.
You know, I mean,
I don't know.
A lot of times people rehab shit.
Right.
Not everyone wants to get fucking operated on because the rehab can sometimes. It's better to rehab and not have the surgery than get the surgery and then the rehab because the rehab becomes longer once you get the surgery.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, Reese Mack said he hasn't seen it yet. Yeah, go watch it. It's pretty crazy, man. I mean, he tears Charlo up.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious.
He tears him up, man.
It is so funny.
You know what though? Danny Jacobs did the same thing. Remember that? You remember that video with Danny Jacobs and he saw Charlo or whatever? And Charlo's, going on and on about it. He was always talking about Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs got in his face. Charlo, shut up.
That was the other one. That was Jamal.
Yeah. One of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's insane, man. Yeah, he shut him down, son. And finally, Clarissa Shields. And Shields versus Habazin rescheduled for January 10th. The fight will take place on Showtime and take place in Atlantic City. Okay. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not real interested in the fight. I think it's going to be real hard for Habazin to win. Just because she's fighting Clarissa Shields. But based on what happened, how do you get that out of your head? That your coach was attacked last time? Come on, man. This fight's going to be terrible. I mean, that's going to be hard to overcome, man.
Kind of interested in seeing her try to get down to 154.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a big girl. And I mean, I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I just mean she's got a lot of muscle on her. She's like Serena Williams is like she's athletic, man. She's she's athletic and she's got a lot of muscle. So it's gonna be tough for her to get down that far, man.
I agree.
But Ronda Rousey, what does she weigh? Like 160, 170 in the Olympics?
I thought she was 150, but I don't know.
I thought she was around 160 in the Olympics. And, man, I'll tell you what. I mean, she got down to, 135 or something like that, or 130?
135. Yeah.
I don't know what it was, man. But, yeah, she didn't. Yeah, she got down that far. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But as far as the fight goes, you looking forward to it? I don't know.
I'm intrigued by it, I'll be honest.
Yeah. It's on Showtime, not Fox. So that tells you, yeah, they're getting all the leftovers, man. That's crazy.
I'm intrigued by it.
Gary Seen says, where is Rousey now? She's not in pro wrestling anymore. I think she took some time off. I think she wanted to have a baby or whatever and took some time off. So
yeah, she's having a baby.
Yeah. I don't know if she's pregnant yet. I don't know that, but I mean, that's what she wanted to do. So.
She had a baby, right?
Oh, did she? I don't know.
Did she have it, or is she pregnant? I don't know.
I don't know. I know she wanted to have a baby, but I didn't hear that she was pregnant or anything like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Who knows? All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. I'm at Ringside73 on Twitter, and we will see you next week.
Good night, everybody.